Oh, hello, hello, hello. Yes, it is the most wonderful time of the year. I promise you. You know why? Because today we are sharing with you how you can practice the 17K strategy with as little as 9,000. For the next few minutes, we're going to be releasing this vital information. You do not want to miss out on any of the steps. The first delusion, the delusion that young investors actually don't accept, the delusion that they don't have to have a structure or a vision or a plan before venturing into investing. This is largely unacceptable if you really want to make profit in the market or in the space of investment. We are going to be addressing structure. Structure in the sense that without a working structure or without a conservative structure, without a disciplinary structure, you cannot make the 17K strategy a realistic goal. If you want to practice the 17K strategy, you need a structure that can remind you to be consistent, because through consistency, that is how you make the great profit. This is the structure that we are advising. That for somebody who wants to use the 17K strategy to save up for their rent, if the rent is around 468,000, and we're talking that somebody can use as low as 9,000 to practice the 17K strategy, they should divide these 468,000 into the 12 months, which will be around 39,000 a month. Now, divide that as 9,000 into 4 weeks, which will be around 9,000 weekly. If you have successfully been able to break down the structure like this on how you can split the entire amount that you plan to save into a workable plan, now you have accomplished the goal at least 50% by just having a working plan. Another example we go for the person who wants to use the 17K strategy to save up a down payment for an apartment or for a mortgage. But let's say, for example, they want to save up 20 million naira for the period of 5 years. First, they divide the 20 million into the number of years, which is if you divide 20 million divided by 5 years, you're going to get 4 million per year. Now, divide your 4 million into a period of 12 months, you get 333K, then 333 for monthly. Then you divide that monthly again into weeks. So you get around 83,300 and something for weekly plan. So when you have your structure right, it is easier for you to follow it up. But if the structure is not right yet, practicing the 17K strategy would be a building in sand. Yes.
The foundation matters.
The foundation matters. So once you already have a clear written vision how you want to practice it, then bring the 17K strategy into that particular vision.
Mr. Thompson, thank you very much for letting us know that one needs to understand the structure before investing in the 70K strategy.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so please, what are the criteria that is needed to establish the fact that someone is really interested in following up with this practice?
The basic criteria that they have to look into is the area of their financial structure. Do they have a financial plan in a way that the incentives of the plan can accommodate the consistency of the goal? Yes, they should design their plan in a way that even practicing this, either in saving up for your rent, which is whether you like it or not, it's not somebody don't have to cajole you to do it. These are ultimate goals that you want to achieve. So either of the both, when you want to practice the 17K strategy in the way that I've explained it earlier, you should arrange your structure in a way that while you're consistent practicing the 17K strategy, trying to save up for whatever you're saving up for, it does not completely tarnish or interfere with your own living expenses.
So what it means is that it should be flexible.
It should be flexible, yes. You should have a flexible plan. You should not, choke yourself just because you're trying to save up for...
Okay, Mr. Thompson, that was a nice one from you. But I would like to know, what should you consider before deciding where you keep your money while trying to save towards a major financial goal? Like, what should you put into consideration?
Yes, very good question. The major thing to consider is financial instrument. That is to say, do you plan to be conservative? You want a low risk, low return. You want to save the money in a bank. the bank tells you that they're going to be paying a certain percentage a year. That is low risk. You can put the money also in a money market mutual fund. That is low risk, low return. But then you can be an aggressive person who wants high risk, high returns, an aggressive investor. Yes. So choose an asset like Bitcoin and hedge into it for the period that you'll be saving up the money. Yeah, we advise on putting your money into a financial instrument. Reason being that inflation is steadily going up because inflation erodes your purchasing power. Maybe by the time you want to maybe pay the rent next year, from 500,000, your landlord tells you that maybe now the rent is now 600,000 or 700,000. Because you put the money into a financial instrument, now you have a hedge because some financial instruments can pay you as much as 20 to 25% on your investment.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, and for somebody who is saving 4 million naira a year for a goal of 5 years, if you find an instrument that is paying you at least 20% of 4 million every year, you're not going to amount to only 20 million in 5 years. It will be more than 20 million in 5 years.
More.
Yes, so these are areas that you should consider as you plan to practice the 17K strategy with whatsoever your financial capacity is.
Mr. Thompson, what's the first step in starting this investment using the 17K strategy?
The first step to beginning investing or practicing the 17K strategy, irrespective of your financial capacity, either for the conservative who only have 9,000 to invest weekly because they are planning towards raising a rent, or the person who has 20 million plan to raise 20 million in 5 years, yes, they should register with a reputable broker or an exchange. You can register with Meristem, you can register with CardinalStone, and for the exchanges, you can register with Binance, you can register with Luno, according to, but all those are reputable exchanges and brokers. Then you complete your entire registration process, do your KYC, because if you don't do those things, it is difficult for you to withdraw your money out of the exchange after it hits maturity.
Okay, then when you already complete the registration, then after getting an account from a reputable broker and completing the whole KYC stuff, please, what are the other steps to truly and fully go into the journey of 17K strategy?
Yeah, the next step that one should take should be for them to fund their account. Yes, so like we said, after splitting your financial plan according to how you can practically move with it towards your goal, like we divided for somebody who is saving up for rent, that if it is 468K, they can divide it into 12 months. Every month is 39,000. And they can divide it also, that 39K, into 4 weeks. Every week is 99,000. So according to how their income comes, they should, after making this division, if it is a monthly salary earner, they send 39,000 monthly into the broker, which is funding their account monthly. Then if it's somebody who is a trader who their income comes weekly, they send 9,000 naira weekly into the exchange. The same thing goes for the person who is trying to save up 20 million in 5 years.
Okay, what's the minimal time recommended for spending the 9,000 naira? Like how many times?
Yes, because this is a very vital part of the entire process and the entire strategy that we're trying to explain. This is where the trick is. This is where you will inevitably make the real profit.
Really?
Yes. Because with this trick, you can become more profitable. Using this trick, your chances of making returns are higher, except that you just don't have patience to follow up with this strategy. So the trick is for the person who is preparing to save up for their rent, 9,000 a week, we should divide that into 3 times a week. This is from the area of the 17K strategy. That is averaging into the market in 3 times interval a week. Because the cost of whatever stock that you have chose to buy with your money does not remain constant. It's always here or there. So long as you've already done your homework, you have investigated into the stock, you've done your analysis to be sure that the stock has the potential of making maximum returns in the nearest future, average your 9,000 naira into the stock 3 times a week, which is between Monday, Wednesdays, and Friday.
That's
3,000 for the 9K percent, 3,000 in 3 days a week. That way, you are at liberty of making more profit from the market. Yes, trouble is always coming, and no matter how it is, we can only be conservative and have contingency plans for the future. So in order to mitigate the risk of falling off or stopping out at any point, make sure that you analyze your financial structure well before you begin. And after even analyzing your financial structure, if yet there were still constraints down the line that made you to maybe not to be consistent, maybe for a period of a week or two, for a period of a month or two, what you should do next is, if you have been consistent for a while, the period that you're not consistent, when you come back to putting money back into the market, look into your portfolio and see if your portfolio is in a loss or if it's in profit. If it's in a loss, how much percentage loss is the portfolio in? If it's in maybe 10% or 20% loss, add 20% or 10% more money.
So you mean if I was supposed to pay, probably my normal payment was 50,000 naira, and I flopped for 3 weeks,
yes,
and I wanted to pay back, I'm not going to, if there was any maybe loss, I will not pay 150, so I'll pay the extra loss.
Yes, because this is an obligation you're setting up for yourself.
Okay.
You're doing this it's not because the exchange is demanding you to put in 20% of your loss. Or it's not, yes. Okay. The broker is not telling you that just because you are 10% in a loss, when you want to continue your investment, you should put the 10%.
Okay,
no, it's not a demand. You are disciplining yourself that since you were not consistent, the loss that you are in, you can put 10% more on the new deposit you want to make. While if you are also in profit, you check your portfolio, you are in profit, how many percent profit are you in? The same way, put the percentage profit that you are in also in the new deposit and add it. And with all this being said, we advise that somebody who really wants to follow up with the 17K strategy and maximize profit, because this strategy helps you make money every moment, because you have been able to learn how not to put all your money in at once, but rather splitting your money into portion. And by splitting it into portion, you are able to buy into the market in unpredictable times. So anything that our community members don't understand, just by watching this video, they can leave a comment, and we will continue to lay more emphasis on this area until we get the entire community to be carried along. So if you're a member of our community, thank you very much for sticking around and always going through this process with us. As we are growing, we have promised you that you will also grow with us, following our strategy and our experience. So if you have been following, thank you very much. If you have not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe immediately. And if you like the videos that we share, like our content, comment. If you have any question at all, leave a comment. Turn on your notifications so that whenever we share our content, you can always get notified. Don't miss out on any of these intellectual properties that we share. We advise you to stay connected, stay glued to this community. Thank you one more time for hosting me, Precious.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, now I'll see you in our next video.
Bye.
Bye.